everybody. It's Cam from Women's Outdoor Connection, and I'm here with Chelsea Wilde, and she's here representing Shredded Sisters, which is an amazing group of women, and actually they're inclusive to all different types of people. But we're really excited to have them joining us on October 26th. This will be her third time being with us. She's really a sick ukulele player, so there's that, right? And then they're involved with all different types of things. It could be winter sports such as snowboarding, skiing, touring. They've rock climbing, mountain biking. It's all about finding your people and getting outdoors. So I'm going to let Chelsea take it from here. And Chelsea, tell us a little bit about the group and how it started, and then we'll just go from there.
Sure. You did a great intro for the Shredded Sisters, though. That
Nice.
was great. The Shredded Sisters is a meetup group. We're not a nonprofit. We're a meetup group just that is run by members. So we have over 2,600 now women and non-binary individuals here in the Seattle area, like the greater Western Washington area. What we do is we provide a space online and in person for people to make friends and connect and like get into some of the different outdoor sports that happen out here out west. We focus primarily on skiing, snowboarding. We always do those together. Like whenever we do a mountain meetup, we call them our member mountain meetups. Those are always skiers and snowboarders are welcome. There's a lot of mountain bike events that happen throughout the off for me because I don't mountain bike. It's always like the off season of snowboarding. But we do a lot of mountain bike things. And then we do something called Bites and Brews, where we just have meetups in different areas in the city where people can just come and hang out and meet other people who do things.
Nice.
Um, yeah, and it's a place where like if somebody's going surfing and they want to meet other people to go surfing with, they can post that in our group. It's
Yeah.
not exclusive to those sports, but
Right. So it's
just
just like
a
it's
place for
inclusive and safe, like for you to
yeah,
meet up with a bunch of people and talk
yeah,
about
it's a
stuff.
place for women to connect.
Yeah, I love that. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get involved with Shredded Sisters? What was like, how's it? Because I know you're actively involved with them. Like, you're one of the main admin people for
Right.
the different social medias and stuff. You're
Yeah.
sick at it, by the way. Amazing. But how did that start for you?
Um, so I gotta give big props to Alicia. She was like one of the first people who started the Shredded Sisters. And basically, the Shredded Sisters started as a small group, like specific to Stevens Pass Resort
Okay.
for skiers and snowboarders to like meet other women at the resort. But through COVID and as the years went by, the group, and I mean group like a Facebook group, it just
Yeah.
got so big that Alicia and the other members of the original group decided to expand the meetups that they were doing. Their hope was to expand it to other resorts. And so Alicia reached out to me because I was already doing women's meetups at Crystal Mountain. That's my home
Yeah.
mountain. She was Crystal. And she was like, hey, since you're already doing like organizing women's meetups, do you want to just team up and do it under the banner of Shredded Sisters? And I was like, absolutely. And from there, we grew, and we now have meetups, monthly meetups all winter long at Stevens, at Crystal, and at Snoqualmie, which we're
Love it.
really excited to partner with all of those mountains. So
Yeah,
it's kind of how it
that's
started, and now it's a big thing. It was like
so
everyone's in
what
Shredded
year did it
Sisters.
start? What year did it start, Chelsea?
I don't know, not that maybe 2017. I can't remember. I
Okay.
was not
Well,
part of the beginning.
sure. Yeah, no, I mean,
But
I just
yeah,
I'm
it's led
curious
by
because
three people. Me,
yeah.
our friend Lex, and Alicia's still in it.
Yeah, and then you work a full-time gig at the same time and do other things too. So
Oh
I think that
yeah, nobody gets paid in the Shredded Sisters.
yeah.
This is all charitable work that we do just for our communities. And it all, selfishly, I've made a lot of friends through it. So it's really benefits me because like half
Yeah.
of the friends I have are people who've come to the meetups that I organize.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what would you say is like one of your like most favorite outdoor passions? I know the answer to this, but I also know that you have an outdoor passion that's starting to become
Yeah,
one of your favorites off season. So tell us a little bit about all that.
thank you. I love, love, love two things that are my constant companion my whole life, which is snowboarding and running. Build my entire life around snowboarding. I'm originally from Michigan, and that's where I learned. And then I've moved from mountain to mountain
Yeah.
throughout my entire adult life until I landed here in Washington, and I'm staying here in Washington. I love the Cascades,
Yeah.
love them.
What is it about
Running.
them that really draws you mostly to this area?
Oh, oh, Cam.
Well, I know the answer, but like I
M-
just
In my opinion, the
yeah,
Cascade region for skiers and snowboarders is the friendliest, coolest vibe in the US.
interesting.
I've been to so many resorts. People in the Cascades are fun and welcoming, and it's the vibe. I'm here for the people. Like I love our huge long snow season, but
Sure.
the people in Washington and Oregon in the snow industry, in my opinion, are so fun and so
Yeah.
welcoming. And I'm staying for that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, I was actually thinking about another activity that I've noticed that you're participating in, which is
Surfing.
a little bit of surfing. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I've been trying
what's
to
your,
learn to surf.
yeah, go for
Surfing
it.
is a difficult sport, especially if you are like me and you're like, I'm so good at this
Yeah.
sport. I'll be fine at this one, but it's not. It's been really challenging for me to learn, but it's definitely on my bucket list to get better over the next 10 years or so. I'm giving myself a decade to just master surfing. And being
Yeah.
in the Pacific Northwest, that's another great benefit of living out here in the Cascade Range. That's a great benefit of living out here in the Cascade Range is I can snowboard and then I could turn around and go surfing the next day. And that's, I
So
think,
convenient.
incredible. I know.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never seen anybody. Well, actually, I have seen them. Have you been down to Bend where they have like on the river there, right by the Mill District?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cool.
Yeah. I
We need
love,
to get one of those here
yeah, I know, right? I think that
in
that
like
would
the Snoqualmie River or something.
something where it's like, yeah, so it's like it's basically, if you've never been down there, guys, like, or ladies, whomever is watching at this point. So if you've never been there, like, it's really sweet to go down there and actually even just watch because it's an area where it's a controlled wave and a lot of people go there to
In the
learn
river.
in the river. Yeah. And it could be like, they can be in kayaks, like river kayaks. They could be on snowboards. Like it's really,
Surfboards.
there's some, I'm sorry, surfboards. Well, they could do a snowboard and
No, but
snowboard
if anybody wants to go snowboard, try to snowboard the river wave in Bend with me,
Let's do
I'm
it.
not gonna go. No, I'm not doing it.
No, I don't think that's a good
That would be
idea.
so. I've
Can you
never
tell I'm not a
surfboarded.
snowboarder? Like I'm not. I'm definitely not a snowboarder. I think I've tried to like I think I've tried to skateboard like once in my life and it was not a pretty sight. That's I kind of like to have my legs move differently. I don't know. It freaks me out a little bit. So,
No, I don't
but
blame you.
that's no, but I have a lot of my best friends are snowboarders for sure. So, what aspects of the outdoor industry really like light your fire? What are some of the things that I think you think are really, you mentioned the Pacific Northwest, but like eh, what is it that has basically made it the center of your life at this point?
In like the outdoor industry or outdoor sports? What do you mean specific?
Uh, well, you participated in the outdoor sports, but that includes the industry, meaning like, because you're part of Crystal's
Right.
family, I think there's got to be things that inspire you about being part of that community other than just the Stoke. So
Sure. Okay, so the outdoor industry. Sorry, hold on. Somebody is literally knocking at my door right now. Cam, can we just, I'm so sorry to
it's
pause.
okay.
Can we
Let's
pause?
let's pause.
Hold on. Sorry, hold on one second.
Soon.
Thank you.
Okay. So what is it about the outdoor sports, outdoor industry that inspire you the most?
Well, two different things. When it comes to outdoor sports specifically, divorced from the industry, just sports,
Mhm.
I think that I really benefit from three things. Number one, seeing beautiful places.
Yeah.
Being outdoors when I'm working out or being outside when I'm doing my sports and everything, those sports are an avenue towards being in the most gorgeous places ever. And I am not going to downplay this. Just being able to see mountain ranges helps me like
Yeah.
to survive everyday life.
Yeah, sure.
just breathing the fresh air, seeing animals and being outside part of the landscape, like as a human, I'm in the landscape.
Yeah.
Something snaps in my brain and it just helps me survive every other day when I'm not there. So
Everything else.
that's a
Agreed.
one, yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing that I love about outdoor sports. The other thing I love about action sports specifically is that you can measure your progress. And I love learning things,
Mm.
but it's like sometimes when you're learning something, it takes a really long time to learn it. And you're like, am I really getting anywhere? But with something like snowboarding, within the first couple lessons, you can literally measure how much better you're getting. And
Sure.
it's so encouraging. Same thing with running. I'm a big runner. Running, I start, stop, start, stop. I have an injury, I stop for 6 months, I start again. And it's so fun to be able to go out and you're like, oh my gosh, 1 mile, I feel like I'm dead. But
Yeah.
then a month later after training, you're like, oh my gosh, I can do 3 miles. It's so
Yeah.
encouraging to feel the progression happening. And then
Uh-huh.
with like a sport like snowboarding, it's like you never stop progressing. There's always another trick to learn, always another technique or another hill to ride. And so
Right.
there's always something I'm reaching for. I love
Or
that.
a run to like conquer, a type of snow to conquer. There's just there's it's pretty much infinite as far as what you can accomplish,
There's
to be honest.
always
Yeah.
like the next step. And
Yeah.
I think that in sports, like knowing that there's always a next step that you can get better at can maybe make some people feel intimidated. But I like challenge people, no, that should be fun. And you can conquer those steps and those goals in sports with your friends. So that's like the third reason, like the outdoor industry, or I'd say the third reason sports itself, like
Yeah.
adventure sports, are very important to me, like have, been the center of my life is that the people that I go with to do these things, they become your closest friends. When
Yeah.
you're doing a hard sport, when you're climbing a mountain or you're snowboarding down really difficult
Mhm.
terrain or you're doing backcountry snowboarding, you have to really trust the people you're with. You
Yep.
train together, you suffer together, and it just creates this environment where you can make really deep friendships. And I know so many adults have a hard time making new friends or
Yeah.
or connecting with people because we all have these crazy busy lives. Some people have kids, some people have got these careers, some people live
Mhm.
half their time here, half their time there. But when we have a sport that we can all come together to do once every week, once every other week,
Yeah.
or more, it really cements those bonds. And I am so grateful for the outdoor sports because that's how I've made these incredible connections in my life. So
Yeah.
those are like the three ways that I would say outdoor sports like really inspire and impact me. The way
Yeah.
that I'm impacted and inspired by the industry,
Yeah.
outdoor industry specific, I have had challenges with the industry
Yeah.
because the industry itself is challenging.
Yeah.
And so, one thing that does inspire me in the industry when it happens is when brands and companies and stakeholders and all the people in the industry who are sponsoring these incredible events or run these awesome companies, when they actually intentionally include women and minorities in all aspects
Yeah.
of the industry, be it in advertising.
Sure.
One of the reasons I choose to wear gear from True Gear is every time I get an ad from them, there are people of different races, different sizes, different
Sure.
abilities and
Yeah.
disabilities, different ages.
Yeah, being
Like,
inclusive. Yeah, and that visual is changing, I feel, in our industry. I think, well, in the sports industry as a whole. I think there's definitely some key players that are making a difference there, but it's interesting. I think I told you separately, like in a different conversation, it might have been Andrea, but I went to a ski film over on
right.
Friday or whatever. And I was interested that there was only probably about 5% female in the whole group, and it was probably 150, 200 people. And I don't know why, but
Wow.
like in my ski school, like when I'm teaching, I guess I just don't look around and see that there's less of us. I have such a great group of ladies that I'm able to participate in sports with. But it is definitely changing, in all aspects. So I think that frustration, I hope will get better. over time. But I think it
Well, it's
takes
why,
people like us and
yeah,
people like the
yes,
Women's Outdoor Connection, like Shredded
yes.
Sisters, to really have a voice, and to be vocal about it. Because really think about the amount of money that we spend or we have the potential to spend on these activities and sports. And so if they don't pay attention, I think we should be loudly saying, like you said, don't wear their stuff or don't use their gear if they're not really paying attention. So I think that's
Right.
great.
Why do we do the work we do? It's to make sure that women and I specifically I'm personally am invested in women and minorities having more representation in the industry,
Yeah.
because then that creates like kind of a safer place and more of a fun place for them when they're out doing stuff. Because if so much of the industry is like you're behind a computer, you're seeing ads, you're seeing, like you said, a film,
Yeah.
you're going to events. But the more that the industry invests in different people, the more those different people can feel comfortable being in outdoor places. And
Yeah.
those outdoor places and spaces, they're for everybody. And so I
Yeah.
have like spent tons of time over the past decade, trying to cultivate an experience for women in the outdoors that is easy breezy, fun, show
Yeah.
up, and I'm
Well, I think
really,
we treat things differently, we approach it differently, and no matter, even, even the conversations I've been having, we're really sort of starting to see a theme within them,
yeah,
of how when you're on the mountain or you're, in the water, you're sailing or you're hiking or whatever, women tend to support each other vastly different than if they're in a group of gentlemen, no offense to the boys or whatever, but we're oftentimes down at the bottom as our sisters are up higher above us, cheering them on, like, you can do this, we got you, like, if I have to hike halfway up to get you, I need to get your skis back on, I will make that happen,
right.
like, I
Well,
will
and
help you, I'm not
I
going to leave
think
you in the dust,
a,
so
a lot of people also forget that like women can be in unique situations that can impact their ability to get to the mountain
yeah.
or have time
Yeah.
for the mountain, and sometimes having an all-woman environment makes it safer for them. There's this, I'm like on this like kick of threes right now, but there's these three things that come to mind who women I've had at events have told me things like, number one, I just escaped an abusive relationship and I really feel uncomfortable around men while I'm in this healing
Mhm.
process. Thank goodness you guys have this all women's group because it makes me feel safe to just take my walls down and
Yeah.
go have fun,
Yeah.
Like another situation you flip that, we do have a number of women who I've talked to who are currently in an abusive relationship where
Mhm.
that person that they're with won't allow them to go out with a mixed sex group.
Yeah.
So they're in a situation, maybe they're trying to get out of that situation. I don't know what they're doing in their life, but without the all women aspect, they wouldn't be out of the house
Yeah.
because they are dealing with a controlling partner, and then like on a lighter note, but like, there's mothers, new
Yeah.
mothers.
Yeah.
We've had women come to some of our we've had women come to some of our events. I'm specifically thinking about a splitboarding event where we were touring,
Yeah.
and she needed to stop to pump milk from her breasts for her baby.
Yeah.
And it was like such a chill thing. She's like, "Hey guys, I got to stop and, breast pump real quick." And
Yeah.
everyone was like, "All right, we're gonna stop and take a break." Like it was like no big deal, no questions asked. Nobody had to like ask what that is.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of a fun vibe.
Yeah.
We need to take a break anyway, but so we create these spaces for women for a lot of reasons, not just like, hey, we need to have more inclusivity, represented in your advertisements or this or that. It's because that there are people out there experiencing some unique situations, and having an all gal group can
Yeah.
kind of add the cushion they need to let their guard down and still have fun.
Yeah. No, I completely register with that because, as you know, I came from an abusive situation with my ex, and
Right.
I was not allowed to do things like in that relationship, fully not allowed. Um,
Wow.
and so once I left that though, once I escaped it and just,
Yes.
told that person to go take a flying leap, I all of a sudden, like it was if wings were put on my back and
Right.
I found the person that I was because I was surrounding myself with like-minded people that told me
Yes.
that I could do it. I'd been told for very long that I couldn't do things. And then all of a sudden people were like, well, why can't you? And
I
I'm like, oh
I
yeah,
love
why
that.
can't I? And the great thing about being on the mountain for me personally is like it is something I'm doing for myself, but I also have a community around me to support me. I think that
Yes.
individual success is so important because
Yes.
we don't get that oftentimes in our lives. And
Yes.
we chase it, I think, a little bit like in the corporate environment. And often we're being told by a boss or like a company or a corporation that we're not doing it right.
Right.
Whereas on the mountain, or even in the water, or whether you're running, there's so many successes you can have. And they can be, I had a conversation with Deborah from Grateful and she was talking about
Right.
baby steps,
Baby
take
steps.
those baby steps. And as those baby steps go along, you're climbing the mountain, and it's so true. I'm getting goosebumps just kind of thinking about that. But
Oh, and
yeah,
Cam, I love, this is just me, but like I'm one of those people, I love being there for the baby steps when somebody else
yeah,
succeeds. You know that feeling, and I know that you are a ski instructor, and I'm not like an official snowboard instructor, but I do participate in helping my friends learn new skills while we're snowboarding.
sure.
Nothing brings me more joy than seeing a friend succeed at like something new in snowboarding and then realizing they did it. Or maybe they went down a black diamond for the first
Yeah,
time. Or I brought them hiking to a cool new spot and they were all nervous about it and they realized they could ride it really well. Or
yeah,
even just as simple as somebody, I'm out there with the gals and they're all beginners and they're linking turns for the first time.
yeah.
I get so excited when somebody starts to link turns and it snaps for them the first time. It's almost to me as pleasurable of an experience as doing something new myself, you
Yeah,
know?
as the first time you did it, you know?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
so
no,
fun.
totally. I completely get that. So that sort of leads me into, and we've sort of been talking about it, but do you have any specific memorable moment for the outdoors? Is there a specific moment in your life that you can look back on? I know there's probably a bazillion, but
So
like,
many.
yeah, so many. But is there one that just sort of stands out and shows up often in your
Yeah,
mind?
like leaning into this whole like community aspect and how I think the Cascade Range is just ripe with these good vibes and the people here are wonderful and all the people I've met through the Shredded Sisters are so amazing. I had cancer in 2020 during like the height of COVID and all of this stuff. I had breast cancer and I'm fine. Everything's fine now. I'm cancer free. But when I finished my treatment towards the end of 2021, my snowboarding friends were such a huge support for me. They threw me a lot, like a parking lot barbecue at
Oh,
Crystal Mountain, after we snowboarded all day. And it was specifically to celebrate my being done with my cancer treatments. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. We went
I'm getting
snowboarding.
emotional. I
It
just,
was camp. It was legit, man. Like, and I have the
yeah.
best friends. I've never had friends like I have here. Now, I've had wonderful friends my whole life, but I have this group of women who I snowboard with and surf with, and they're just, wow, creme de la creme. But after my treatment, we all went up like the next weekend, and the snow, it was those big flakes,
Yeah.
like and it was coming down all day. It was all pow. We were shredding, and I decided to take a run that would land me on the road 2 miles down the street. Best run of the year. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody had gone down there. It was snow up to my waist. Unbelievable. And I had to hitchhike back
Yeah.
because we're way out. Okay.
I kind of think I know what run that is, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Lower snorting elk. And
Yeah.
I come back on this guy's truck. I had a couple buddies with me, and I get to the parking lot, and my friend Jessica had set up her George Foreman. She was making burgers. There was a table with chips and salsa. And
No,
remember,
that's so
it is
awesome.
nuking snow. It's not
Yeah.
fun. It's not fun for her. It's
No.
everybody's soaking wet. She
Yeah.
had she had a portable fire pit out there.
Oh,
I
nice.
mean, I felt like $1 million. I had
Yeah.
one of the best runs of the whole season, and then had to, be a, a silly and hitchhike back just to be greeted by my best friends celebrating my life.
Yeah. Oh,
That's what it's all about.
bravo. That's
Huge thank you to the
amazing.
lemons and all my girlfriends. Thank you. I love
That's
you.
amazing. I love that. So, what are two people in your life? We're going to be taking a break here in a little bit, but and then come back for our lightning round. But what are two people, or even one person in your life that have really influenced you, and inspired you?
I just, this is probably not the answer you're looking for, but my parents, I was really lucky to have parents who were very into the outdoor world.
Yeah,
They helped me learn how to ski, they helped me learn how to snowboard. My dad, for our entire childhoods, built an ice rink in the backyard in Michigan so we could ice skate and play hockey all winter long.
that is
Like
so
he would
cool.
he would lay out the wood frame and put plastic and flood it, and we'd have a hockey rink
That's
all.
amazing.
I was
Do you
taught to
have
love.
pictures?
Yeah, I'll have to give you some.
Oh, you'll
Um,
have to send pictures so we can put that as part of the
yeah,
whole
we
thing. Yeah.
still do it. He still does it.
Oh,
He's a
I
big
love
hockey
that.
guy. Big hockey. Go Detroit. Big hockey guy. But
Yeah. Way to go, mom and
my
dad.
yeah, they
Yeah.
really helped instill a love for winter in me.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate the winter because it's dark, it's cold, but I live for it, and
Oh,
that's thanks
100%.
that's
Like
thanks to my
my friends
family.
make fun of me because I'm just like, is it,
Yeah.
they're all excited because it's like 95 degrees outside. I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. I said, when's it gonna start snowing?
That's
Like
when it's like I love surfing in the Pacific Northwest because the water is so
so
unbelievably
cold.
cold.
Yeah.
You have to wear a thick wetsuit, but it like
Yeah.
cools me off.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love it. And so just real quickly, what advice would you give your younger self?
Coaches.
Oh,
Find coaches. Whether any skill you want to learn, find the people who derive joy from seeing other people learn it. I'm that type of adult now. I find a lot of joy from helping my friends learn how to do a jump or learn how to do this. But when I was younger, I didn't understand the idea of coaching. In my
yeah.
mind, I thought maybe that meant you were weak or you weren't good. But
Uh,
even the best athletes have coaches
yep.
still. Kelly Slater has a coach.
Yeah, they
Like
all and all these people that are going for the Olympics and all that, they have people that are behind them. Yeah, for
whole
sure.
team of people. So if
Yeah.
you want to learn something, get lessons. Go to CAM and get your ski lessons. Come hang out with me. I'll help you out. If you want to learn something, get lessons and then surround yourself with women or people who can support you and help you grow. One of the things I hear the most on the chairlift is like, I don't have anybody to ski or snowboard with, and I don't feel like I'm progressing. And then then
Yeah.
that person will invite them to ride with us in a couple days riding with the crew. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is what was missing. I need a
Yeah.
group because it helps you grow.
No,
And
it
so,
totally does. You're completely right. Like, I mean, I like skiing by myself, but I also love skiing in a group of people because I tend
yeah,
to be challenged in ways that I may not have been challenged before. And then
that's
not
it.
only that, sometimes they know the terrain better than I do, or
Yes,
or vice versa. But a lot of times they'll
exactly.
know the pass and the terrain. And like if you go to another area, it's also nice to like they have like on the different mountain areas, if you like are traveling to go skiing, or they have like ambassadors hook up with one of them. Exactly,
Yep.
like with a Chelsea. And they have
Yes.
ambassadors though that will take you around the mountain. They'll tour you around the mountain based on your ability level. I always do that every single time do I go to a new mountain that let's say if I'm traveling with someone who's never been there either, because you get the opportunity to learn.
Yep.
You just and not only that, just meet someone local. Like that conversation on the chairlift. I mean, shoot, chairlift conversations are oftentimes some of the best vibe that I've ever gotten,
That's
It's
how
so
we've
fun.
grown the Shredded Sisters so much. Every
Yeah.
time I hear a woman say, I just don't have any friends to ride with, I'm like, okay, look, now you do. Now
Now
you
you
have
do. You got
we're
me.
your family now. But
Yeah,
A
totally.
quick shout out if anybody wants to be shown around Crystal Mountain in Washington. I am so lucky and blessed enough to be an official Crystal ambassador. So if you are coming to town, find me on the social medias. Chelsea
Love
has
it.
hope. I would love to show you around if I'm there.
And
I'd love
so
it.
we're going to be wrapping up and going to our lightning round, but just briefly, what can people expect when they come to the Women's Outdoor Connection in case they're not joining us on the next little session here?
Right. The Women's Outdoor Connection is just going to be full of like people who are super pumped to get you connected to the outdoors, thus the name, right? So you'll meet different groups like the Shredded Sisters. They'll have their dates of events coming up. You can sign up with different groups. You can just check it out. You can kind of window shop if you're like, oh, I got to check it out first. You can, there's a big raffle. There's education. It's really a great place to make connections, do some networking, meet some people, but also like, maybe you want to get into surfing or something. And this
Uh,
is a great place to go see, like, is that something I want to do? And what do I got to do to get started?
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chelsea, for being with us. And we're
Thank
super
you.
excited to see you on the 26th. You and your ukulele. If you don't bring your ukulele, then I will
Bring
be
it.
very upset.
I'll bring it.
Because I need to figure out how to play that thing so I can play it right now, But we're
Dan.
stoked to have you to be part of our group, and thank you so much for today. And we'll see you back here in just a little bit for
Thank you.
our lightning round.